Hello, welcome back. Playing Oxygen Not Included on hard mode. Dupes eating twice the amount of calories, getting stressed out easily, don't deal well with radiation poisoning. So I had two really good comments from questions from the viewers. So I wanted to go over that first. And the first one was, why do I not have the automation temperature here connected to the aqua tuner itself? And that's what I used to do. So I would normally have this temperature gauge actually connecting directly to the aqua tuner, tell it whether to be on or off. And I switched to having a liquid shut off instead. And the reason for that is if I turn this off, some liquid's going to be stuck here, some liquid's going to be stuck here, and in particular the piece of liquid here, that's going to be stuck in an environment that's extremely hot. So right now it's 92 degrees, but it's going to turn to steam. It'll be plus 100 or so. If you had water, ethanol, that's going to actually break the pipe if liquid is at that spot. So that's why. Now it is insulated, and what did I make that? Made that out of igneous rock, which, and I did ceramic over here. Okay, that should have been ceramic first of all. I'm not going to go back in there, but it is what it is. It's working. But if it were ceramic, let's look at this one here. Even if it were ceramic and you had some that in this case is going to be brine, that's going to be sitting there if you have this off for a very long time, and that would break the pipe and not be very good. So that's why I do that. Basically, if you have the aqua tuner running all the time, it may never happen, but if you ever have a point where things are cool enough, you don't need to run the aqua tuner for a very long time, that can, and that happened to me in a few cases. That's why I never do that anymore. I always have a liquid shut off instead of controlling the aqua tuner itself. The other question was, why don't I have all these tiles here insulated? And that would have honestly been a good idea, particularly when I was trying to do a fix over here, because I had some gases temporarily leak over here, and if I had this insulated, it would have allowed me to have a few pumps over here to manage that, get all the oxygen or whatever air it was out of there to recreate a vacuum and not worry about this heating up the air really quickly, which is going to be the case. It was also mentioned too, why not have temp shift plates inside here? And to be honest, temp shift plates is just something I have experimented with a long time ago, ignored, and really need to experiment with again. So that's a goal, a note for myself. Try out those temp shift plates. The other comment was, this whole thing is hinging on the fact that this petroleum is in place, because if that were to disappear, let's say, and this has happened to me in the past, I see some water here that needs to be mopped up, and I click many things, don't notice that, I've marked that to be swept. My dupes sweep it, and then all of a sudden all this air starts rushing in here, destroying the vacuum, interacting with the heat, heating up my base. Yeah, not good. So a couple different things I could do. One thing is I could build this tile back again, and I could fill this up with liquid. I feel more secure if I've got a lot of liquid, which is the way I had it before I went in here. So I could do that temporarily, or for the time being. I think I'm just going to block it off. Two other things I just wanted to mention around this. One of which, if I had a dupe barf somewhere in here, because they have radiation poisoning or some sort of other sickness, that would rush in unexpectedly and mess with this liquid. And even if that liquid were to just simply take its place, if you have polluted water, that's going to turn to polluted oxygen, push into here. Not good. The other thing that has happened, it actually happened in this playthrough, I didn't record it though, one of the dupes had dropped some barbecue meat inside here. So they were, I don't know why they were in here with some food, and just left really quick, dropped the barbecue meat. And the barbecue meat, I noticed it, so I got it I got them to sweep it out of the room. But if that barbecue meat had sat right there, interacted with the temperature here, even if it was frozen, and even though it's in a vacuum, it's going to interact with the tile that's sitting on top of, in this case, 43 degrees. It's going to slowly get to the point where it's no longer frozen. Eventually, it's going to go bad, become a rot pile, and then turn to polluted oxygen and destroy my vacuum. So there's, having the dupes allowed to go in here freely without me monitoring them, not a good idea. So that's why I'm doing this. I want, in fact, I'll do that at a high priority. It does allow me, if I need to have dupes go back in here to make some sort of change, all I need to do is destroy this tile, and they have access over here. But I'm thinking in the future, I really wished I kind of had that sort of permanent setup in here, because I would have gone in and changed this to ceramic type pipes. The other thing is I could have changed this to electrical tile here and then remove some of that and gain that iron back. Anyway, not going to care about it right now. We're going to move on. Whoa. Just realizing I forgot that. But yeah, so this artist now knocking that out. So that's going to prevent all this sort of accidental cases, including dupes being sick or other liquids just temporarily going down there. If I ever need to, I can destroy that. But I'm hoping at this point, and this sort of loses access to a lot of this material. But if I really want to, I could monitor this, build some bins or something, tell the dupes to get all this stuff out, and then reblock it. But what I really do not want to happen, and this has happened to me in the past, is you go to another asteroid and you're working on something for 10 cycles or whatever it is, and then you come back to your home base and you realize someone either barfed, left food, whatever the case, and things are just blowing up and you have to go back and lose 10 cycles worth of stuff. So this is going to sort of save me from that situation. I know for sure dupes are not going to be getting in this area without me explicitly watching it. And if I really need to have them in there, I can temporarily destroy it. In fact, maybe a locked door would have been better, but anyway, a tile will do. I could monitor them, watch to make sure nothing is no barbecue meat or something's being dropped or this or that, and then reseal it or relock the door. Okay, with all those are great comments, and I absolutely love that. So, let me take you through what I want to do in this episode. I want to continue to expand this because I've done the research for a Research Reactor, and I want to place that here along with some water and some drywalling, and I'm going to show that. That will be pretty much the whole episode is going to be about making all this drywall, and the drywall is going to be made out of granite. That's why I'm going to actually have the dupes dump some granite right there at that location. And we're going to turn that on, and I'm going to get lots of rad bolts. That's going to enable further research, because one of the things that I want to research, and in fact, maybe even though that system is not running yet, I want to get access to this thing here, the interplanetary launcher. So even though that's not existing, I still am able to burn some uranium ore in the meantime. But the idea is, after I do this research, I'm going to disable this, so I'll never again have to have a radiation lamp, at least for this particular use case. Now, the reason I want to do that, have the interplanetary launcher that is because over in this world, last episode, I got this pip here to plant these Weezer works, and that's made a red bolt generator. That's going to be the input for interplanetary launcher. And I've got natural gas here, and I've got crude oil. Natural gas is actually coming from the oil well. One of the things I absolutely want to make sure that I do is put in a pump within this space here, because this can actually become overpressured. And if I just continually allow this release more and more natural gas, things could actually start breaking. And that's happened before in my playthrough. So I very much know if you have an oil well, you want to have a pump. That's not that one. I'll actually even build it right now. I'll make it out of steel. I'll put it up in this area. And then I'll need some sort of filtering, because there are other gases and natural gas but we gotta have a method for keeping that down. Alright, so I also want to have a Atmos sensor, because I don't want this to run when the pressure is very low. It's just kind of wasting power type of thing. So I'll push this in. Don't know if it's really necessary, but I'll make that wire out of steel, and we'll give that some power. All right, that's the start of it. Let's get started over in the home world, and I'll get the dupes to finish off this floor, and then we'll do the drywalling. So I had a second thought about this, and that is the fact that I can make a few changes within here right now, and it just occurred to me I have a liquid sitting at this point. It's 91 degrees. I could disable these guys here, so essentially disabling indirectly the aqua tuners. And I could get in this area and make some changes if I really want to, and it wouldn't be a bad idea in my mind. First thing I'm going to do is make ceramic pipes. And the reason I didn't have ceramic is, as I recall, I built this before I just had ceramic, and kind of had in my mind that I would upgrade it when I have ceramic, and just never did. So now I'm aiming to do that. The other thing is probably less important, but I'm going to put a heavy joint plate right here and connect that through. That's going to require me to dismantle this aqua tuner. This one's probably less important, but if I'm going to go in anyways, I'll do that now. Okay, so I've got those pipes converted to ceramic. Right now I just want to add a tile right here. And the reason for this is building these is a little bit tricky in the fact that it requires the spot left and right to be available. I essentially don't want to build this and have liquid spill out. So once I was at a point I built one of these tiles, a little bit of liquid tossed out, but most of it was still intact. I don't want to have half of it or a good portion to fall out, so that's why I'm building this right here. Over in the Desolands, I'm having the dupes build this gas pipe. That's essentially going to be leading from here to an area that I've dug out where I'm going to have a series of gas reservoirs. I'll have those, actually, now that I think about it, or do I want to store those in space because I don't want the heat interact? Maybe I'll do that instead. But essentially, this is just making a path for this really hot, and at this point, this is insulated pipes. This is essentially making its way out of the base, where I'll initially have some storage until it meets the interplanetary launcher. Let's go check out the home world. Okay, good. So I can destroy these two tiles. This one and this one. It's going to allow me to build, when that's done, the joint plate right here. Oh good, you just destroyed one of the tiles. Alright, so I have my heavy wire joint plate within here, so I can destroy this tile. Actually, I can destroy all the ones that are on this side. It's going to return me to the state I was in before, though I have to build the thermal aqua tuner. Thermal aqua tuner is now being built. I can actually reclaim some of this iron ore and I'm going to make this out of heavy watt conductive iron, have it go from here, here, just avoiding that a little bit. Not the biggest savings, but figured if I have to go back in this liquid at the moment, I might as well do that. See some material that I could sweep. Do that before I close this up again. So there's no time to experiment like the present while I get this thing open. And I've got some iron in the area that I gained back when I put some of these temp shift plates down, made out of iron, various spots, and just see how this goes. How much material that, that's 800, whoa. What happened? Okay, let's get back. Did not realize that was 800. Are they that good? I need to experiment with. Let me put. Didn't realize it was 200. If it's that expensive, let me prioritize where it's being used. Probably the most important part is where it's at its hottest, when it comes out of this machinery and into here. I definitely don't want to go crazy knowing that it's 800 per. I could make one out of gold. Or where's iron again? Have to reset your temp shift plate. It's glass. I think it's that's I could make it out of definitely. Let's not do steel. Could make it a gold amalgam. That's thermal reactive, but I have the feeling, I could be wrong, but I have the feeling like iron is the best one. That's aluminum. Sorry. There we go. Let's put one there and there and see how that goes. Just about to install this temp chef plate. There it is. Let's lift the temperature view. It's already 90 degrees, so it definitely heated up pretty quick. And my assumption, someone's entombed, let's go save that. Over here, building this shelving unit to store gas reservoirs, but that's not how you do it, Explorer. So yeah, essentially, we'll watch this. We'll see how it goes. But the main thing is, I just want to get the dupes. If I was going to go through the effort of getting that wiring back, I might as well sweep it out of this zone. Otherwise, it was kind of pointless. Though I do have the ceramic pipes over here. Okay, let's go. While this is going on, we'll go over here and put in, well, first of all, this tile. And then a bunch of gas reservoirs. Oops. Off by one. Put some here, some here. It's going to store a lot of natural gas for us. Crazy amount. And what I'll even do is I'll instruct the dupes to do the flooring first, just that when they're doing the lower levels, they've got radiation protection. Maybe I'll even do the same thing, even though that's going to be, won't have a purpose for this other than radiation protection while they're doing construction. So it's going to, I won't draw all this out, but essentially I can now do this in regular piping, do this with igneous rock. This is going to make its way through here into one of these and go all the way through. And I'll be back once I do all this. So I can see that I've got enough red bolts in here to finish my research. So I'm actually going to just connect this wire here, and that's essentially going to disable this because I want to stop burning uranium ore for the purpose of doing this type of research. I would rather switch to producing red bolts via the red bolt or research reactor. And just watch a researcher or scientist rather finish the research. That gives me the ability to make an interplanetary launcher. So I'll probably won't actually build that in this episode, but the next episode I think that's going to be my goal. So I'll allow my dupes here to. This is a bit excessive, but I want to store the natural gas. So I'm gonna be getting natural gas from two sources. One is the actual oil well itself. The other is I have to find the natural gas reservoir. I know there's one here, so I'll have to start doing some digging, figure out where that is, because I want to tap into that as well for my natural. I see a evolution with glossy direct light. Maybe I'll take one of those with me. I can get plastic in the home world, though I've got lots of oil. You can see the dupes have not been feeling well, probably from doing that outside construction. They built this first. I don't know if I told them, but build your ceiling higher priority. Just occurred to me that I have not installed liquid or I'm not doing any filtering, so I'm going to do this right here. I'll have to, I guess there's a ladder in the way, I'll have to change that just a bit. But essentially, I'm going to detect whether something is hydrogen or not hydrogen, natural gas or not. If it's not natural gas, send it down here to vent out space. Just going to kind of keep that away from this hot machinery. And then what it'll do is going to detect the type of element. So it's going to look for natural gas. If it is, it's going to go through the top way. Let's see, it doesn't need to be steel's overkill, even though it's only 5 per. Alright, so if it is natural gas, it'll then go here. Now, the downside to this type of setup with this filter as opposed to the regular filter is if these all become full of natural gas, by the time natural gas gets here, even if it detects it's true, it's just going to leak out, which is kind of actually what I want to happen. Because one bad thing that could very well happen is natural gas builds up too much down here. I want to leak it out. I don't want to back this pipe up, so that'll actually work perfect for what I want it to do. So one other risk is I forgot these little things of petroleum. If a dupe right there, and scientists decide to eat there instead of the Great Hall, but if they had been sick, that would have been very bad news. Or if someone had been sick while they're operating this machinery and leaked down in here, that'd be bad news. Now I did put in this mesh tile so that if someone was walking down here and was sick, that would kind of take care of it. But yeah, there's a risk to this, and I in this build I had built this such that this could actually be flat. Normally I do 2 of them that are crossed like this, and I'm kind of thinking that might have been better. The only thing is this doesn't guarantee that if the dupe, and you just saw one, they were just eating there. If they also had been sick and then decided to puke at that location, that would have just been an absolute mess. So my question is, I'll think of this myself, but does anyone know a way to sort of guarantee that a dupe doesn't stand there? Because I can't lock that door, because if they stand here, they're not going to have access to the food. Up here is even worse, because this hole, I could build a tile right here to prevent everything on this side, but someone could still be standing here and making a mess. It's just something I'm going to have to check every so often, and once I get to the point when my dupes aren't nearly as sick as often, because I'm not having them go up in space, that may not be a thing. Definitely another case for insulating the full outside and having a bunch of pumps ready to go. Definitely on my next playthrough, I think that's something I'm going to do. Up here, the dupes have collected a lot of granite, so let's start the process of filling this in. I'm actually going to have a manual lock door right here. I'm going to put in some drywalling, make that out of granite. We'll do the first layer. If I can get across. Controller seems to be having an issue. Here we go. Nope. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. There you go. There you go. Alright, so that's going to give me my first layer of drywalling all the way across. Just see the progress of the dupes. I actually added a second layer of drywall at the top. We're about halfway across. And I built this little spot. This is essentially where rad bolts are going to be firing out. I'm going to use petroleum as an airlock. And And this one, I'll be able to guarantee that the dupes won't be sick. First of all, they're wearing suits, so they can't be sick out here. Because that is technically one thing I could have done, which I think is a bit ridiculous, is to force the dupes, if you're going to go into this area, you have to have the ammo suits, so that if you're sick, you're not going to disrupt this. The other thing that I'm thinking I might have wished I had done, I'm not going to do, but maybe in the next playthrough, is created a wall between these two environments, because I'm pretty comfortable that I can, first of all, lock this area and not have to worry about the dupes being sick or making a mess here. But I can't lock them from their food. They have to have access to this all the time. So I could have had a wall right along here, somewheres, separating this, and with some pipes in existence, or pumps in existence, ready to remove any polluted oxygen that has resulted from polluted water. And that would have gotten really cold, but I'm not as worried about my base freezing or getting really cold as I am about my base boiling up. Anyway, maybe in the next playthrough you'll see that. Otherwise, let's just go on the other asteroid and see how the dupes there are doing. Actually pretty good, just 2 more gas reservoirs and a bit of piping, and that is ready to go. I have this even sent over here, so this is going to head towards the interplanetary launcher, which I'll probably do in the next episode, but they'll be somewhere around that area. Just getting some of these tiles back to store more water, and also at the same time realize I now have a vacuum in this area, so this goes all the way up here and just allows me to store this very hot water without that going towards my base. On this asteroid we're getting very low on dirt, so mealwood's going to get tougher and tougher to grow, so I'm expanding the number of bristle blossoms that I can grow for food on this asteroid. So having petroleum dropped off here, just need the smallest amount, that will do. That's going to be the barrier between this really hot steam and the outside space area. You can mop up over here, destroy this, and I'm going to put in, do I have the technology? I do. Red bolt reflector. I'm going to put that right here, and the idea is I'm putting it specifically at this tile, because red bolts I want to have directed along here, so if dupes ever need to be in this area to do some sort of maintenance, they're out of harm's way. It'll go above their heads, but not strike them in the head. So here's my very large natural gas storage complete. It's even doing filtering now. You can see all the other gases going this way, natural gas making its way through. I think I'm going to leave it here on this episode, but I'm going to put in an interplanetary launcher hooked up with this Red Bull generator so I can start sending this natural gas back to my homeworld, along with some crude oil as well. I'm going to find that natural gas geyser somewhere in there. So before I leave, let's also look over here. So I'm in the next episode going to finally build a research reactor. Going to put it in this central location. I do have to make a few adjustments to this floor before I do that, but I'll do that next episode, and perhaps even get that turned on such that I can get some red bolts fired through this system at a very high rate and into my base. Very much looking forward to it. I think next episode will be a big one. Thanks for everyone that has been leaving comments. Astrostar, Alex, everyone else. Thanks everyone for watching. Anyone that clicked the like button certainly adds a bit of motivation for recording my playthroughs and all that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in a future episode. And one final thing, since I'm done in here, again, remind myself, block this off. Alright.